Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Relationship Arena. And I'm here in the arena today with a fabulous lady that I've got to know quite well over the last few years. She's done wonders for me, and she does wonders for many other people out there. It's the amazing Carol Hanson. Welcome, Carol. Good to have you on the show.
Thanks, Sally. It's a real pleasure. And yeah, like you said, we've got to know each other quite well over the past few years. I really admire everything that you do. And I love your dress sense as well, because I'm a personal stylist, and I can tell you one of the best mornings of my life was spent with Ali looking and going through her wardrobe. It was amazing.
Oh, that was such a good time, wasn't it? And I was so brave because I have many wardrobes and a little bit of a shopping habit that I absolutely declare as a therapist I do not wish to be cured of, really. But I did let Carol into the inner circle that is my wardrobe, and we had a great time. So we're going to be here talking about the topic that I think is quite close to both our hearts, which is relationship with self. And of course, our relationship with our external image is absolutely crucial. And much as we talk about it all comes from within and we love each other from within, etc. We know that we would be foolish to ignore the impact of that external image and how that is impacted and how it impacts us. But yeah, first of all, Carol, tell everyone a little bit more about you and what you do.
Okay, so I'm an image consultant, and I inspire women who have a wardrobe full of clothes but nothing to wear. And I help them to look and feel fabulous every time they get dressed. I work with my clients on, first of all, how they want to show up. How do they want to express themselves and showcase their personality to the world? And then we move on to looking at the aspects of, basically, as Ali said, our relationship with ourselves, in the sense of where I always start with my clients is asking them about what parts of their body they love. Many women struggle with that one because we are just so good, aren't we, Ali, at rubbishing bits of our body that we don't like and highlighting on it and focusing on it. And it's probably something that no one else has even noticed, but we focus on it and it becomes such an obsession. And we don't focus on what we love. So I work with my clients, as I say, first of all, to help them to understand what parts of their body they love. And even if a client just says to me, for example, can't think of anything, or, oh, okay, I like the color of my eyes. Well, let's look at what colors are going to make your eyes shine and sparkle. Let's look at what necklines we can use to draw the eye upwards and look at your eyes. What jewelry and accessories, scarves we can use to really show off your eyes. And then we'll work on the bits you're not so keen on. Because if you work from that position of love to start with, it's so much more powerful than focusing on the fact that you don't like your thighs or your hips or your legs aren't long enough, or all of that stuff that we tell ourselves, that rubbish that we tell ourselves. And for the most part, that other people don't see. But the trouble is that we give out the wrong energy when we start really focusing on it as well, don't we? When we're not focusing on what we love.
I think that's such a good point, and I see that in the therapy space where we are programmed to use language that focuses on the bits that we don't like. So even when we are looking to be positive, clients will talk to me about, oh yes, I like this because it makes my hips look smaller. Okay, so the inference there is my hips are too big. Okay. Yeah. They don't say, I like it because it accentuates my curves. Okay. Yeah. They say it makes this look smaller. And also when you look in the shops, women's clothing is still very much branded as, slimming and shaping and, and there's very few brands that are actually focused on enhancing. And that's the difference, isn't it? We need to talk about enhancing the good bits rather than covering up and reducing the other bits.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And we still have a bias in the media and in shops for recognizing taller, slimmer women and seeing them as or a perfect ideal hourglass, and seeing those as the aspirational women. And the truth is that we're not. There are very few women that are like that, and we need to get focusing on real women and acceptance of the fact that we are all different shapes and sizes.
And I just think, we talked before we pressed record here, and I hadn't even thought about this, but lockdown, it has been a minefield, because even though we have all been in our own houses, the media has been obsessed with what we're wearing, what we're not wearing, how we're looking. Now we're coming back out into the world. What are you looking like now you're emerging into the world? And you were telling me about this, we've spent a lot of time looking at ourselves on Zoom, which, yeah, I'm so over it. But this whole thing about people now cashing in on the fact that people are so unhappy with themselves that they want to actually have plastic surgery.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been a real increase in plastic surgery inquiries when we were in full lockdown, and plastic surgeons are now getting really busy with people wanting different things done to enhance their appearance on their face. And I just find that incredibly sad, because what that is saying to me is that I don't love what I'm seeing in the mirror, and I don't accept what I'm seeing in the mirror, and I need to do something about it. And I think there's a really big question, and you're much better placed than I am, Ali, to answer this, is it about what we want to see in ourselves, or is it about what we want others to see in us as well? Is it, is it this societal pressure? Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
I think it's very much a bit of both. I think we see what we feel is the perfect image. We are given this media image of what is meant to be attractive, acceptable, belonging. If you look this way, you're going to be popular, you're going to attract a partner, you're going to be healthy and happy, and life is going to be good for you. And so that's the image that's portrayed. So that's how we want to see ourselves. And that's, of course, then how we want other people to view us, because we want to belong. Even, you think back to those awful, awkward years as a teenager, you want to be in the in crowd, don't you? You want to look the same as your peer group. You want to belong. You do not want to be individual and stick out and be different. So there's a lot of kind of, as you say, societal programming that's going on from a very early age that really plays into us through marketing then, that says this is how you should look, is how you should want to look, and it's how you want other people to see you. And if you don't fit those three brackets, you need to change.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been a whole, we all know that, the diet industry has made a fortune out of that side of people not feeling good enough, not feeling that they have to change, and feeling that they have to take drastic steps. And I think it's quite tragic. And I think it's also tragic the way that I was talking to someone about this yesterday. We were talking about cosmetic surgery specifically, and we were saying that it just is crazy how many younger people are now accepting and demanding that they want cosmetic surgery and Botox and all of this kind of thing. And again, I think that has a lot to do with social media, rather than sort of, and it's that desire, as you say, to fit in, to look like one of your peers, to look better than your peers, whatever it is. And I think that's where people like you and I can offer so much in terms of acceptance, because we both understand that by wearing the right clothes, wearing the right colours, you can look absolutely darn amazing, and it can make such a difference. But you are still the same person. You're not someone that is surgically enhanced to do that. But it is tough for people, because we've just become so used to getting this quick fix, haven't we? And the digital age has been a big player in that we think that we can just press a button and something's going to happen.
Well, I think that's a really good point, because we live in a filtered world, don't we? So, you know, everything that some people put out is enhanced and filtered for them.
Yeah.
And so when they look in the normal mirror,
Mhm.
they suddenly see a whole different picture. They don't see that beautiful porcelain smooth skin without a wrinkle that's got a beautiful rose tint on it. They
Yeah.
see themselves, they see like normality. And they don't want that, because they've kind of fallen in love almost with this digitally enhanced image, because they can just press a button. But that's such a key point, isn't it? That hasn't changed them inside. That's the inside bit that we were talking about at the very beginning. That's the bit that needs to heal and needs to be worked on. And that's the bit where the acceptance comes from.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And it's a gradual process. People don't come to this overnight. You know, if you have body image issues, it is a very gradual process. I mean, you must see this in your therapy work. And certainly I even see it with clients. But if you can just get someone to get that aha moment in the mirror
Mhm.
and realize how good they can look. And one of the things that I noticed most pre-pandemic, when I was actually doing face-to-face consultations, and we were going out and networking in person, was seeing how different somebody would walk into a room after I'd worked with them,
Right.
because they hold themselves differently, their posture's different, their confidence is different. And that's the message that we really need to get out to people, that it doesn't have to be, you know, you can, there is that inner self-acceptance, and that self-love, which is really important. But you can, and as you were saying, before we started recording, about your hair, that it needed to change. We needed to do something about it, and you were fed up with the grey locks, just as I was when we were in lockdown. How much better you feel just by making those changes.
Yeah. And literally, I came on screen, and I'd rushed here from another appointment, and I said, bear with, Carol, because I need to put some lippy on, because I knew that putting some lippy on was going to make a whole difference to how I felt
Yeah.
conducting the interview, and just learning these little things. So I want to dig and pick your brains, because you and I, we kind of have got to the other side of the fence, where I would say that we're quite happy to express our uniqueness in different ways. Okay. So if I was just starting out on this journey, and this was all a bit, as some clients say to me, a bit scary, you know, this scares me. They feel invisible. They want to maybe stay a little bit invisible. What are your top tips to help them to start to step out there a bit?
I think one of the biggest things I certainly come across is with colour. That people tend to, two things, people tend to be very nervous about wearing colour. And you know, very often we will wear black so that we blend into the background, or other neutrals. Greige is a good one, a combination between grey and beige. And she says, looking at a grey jumper. And but bright colours can be quite scary, quite intimidating. So what I always say to my clients as a first step, when they know what colours work for them, because you can get colour wrong, as we know, but the right colours can really enhance you. They can show off your features and make you look really healthy. Is just do it gradually. Just try it with a scarf, a necklace, and get used to wearing some colour. And rather than trying to sort of go whole hog, oh, I'll go and buy a dress in the right coloured red, that might feel very scary. Instead, go and buy yourself a necklace. See how many compliments you get wearing it as well, because that can reinforce the fact that it's the right colour for you as well. So do it gradually. Don't try, like most things in life, when we're making changes, baby steps are so much better than trying to do something drastic and radical. So that would be my first tip. And is really working out, if you if you find a particular outfit or item that you really love and it is a bit different, working out what it is about that is different, that you really love. So is it the color? Is it the style? Is it the fabric? Because it can be very much down to fabric, the way it hangs, the texture. Is it that somebody's given you a compliment when you're wearing it, if it's something you already own? What is it that's reinforcing and making you feel that that is something really special? And try and replicate that. Not so you've got everything the same in your wardrobe, obviously, but try and work out what it is. If it's a fabric, then that can be quite easy to go and look for fabrics that are very similar, that are a similar weight, a similar quality, and just experiment a little bit, but do it one step at a time.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And if somebody, we spoke at the beginning about not focusing, it doesn't have to be the more commonly focused on body parts, does it? When you're thinking about things about yourself that you like. I do an exercise. My regular kind of members will know the gingerbread person, things about you that you like. And when this is looking at physical stuff, this can be one of the hardest activities that my clients do. So you can think about things that, you know, do you like the color of your eyes? You know, do you like the shape of your nose? You know, do you like the waves in your hair? These are all things that are perhaps less, I'm trying to think of the word here, but they're not as kind of in your face, are they? As, you know, as well, they obviously are because they're on your face. There you go.
But it's not like your tummy area or your bust or whatever. You're right. They're more subtle.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. So you can start with appreciating more subtle things and helping yourself to draw your eyes to those things, those subtle things. So when you go into the mirror, an activity I love to get my clients to do is you go into the mirror for a reason, okay? To see does it fit right? Does it look okay? Do I like it? So when you first go, look at the things you've identified that you are okay with. Oh, look at the color of my eyes. Yeah, I like them today, or things like that. Then do the task that you went to do. So do the trousers fit okay? Yeah, they do. Okay, do they match the top? And then walk away before you get involved in the whole, oh, but look, does my bum look big? You know, now this doesn't look great. You know, so you've got to retrain yourself, haven't you?
You have, and it takes time, as you know, to retrain, to change, you know, and to break a habit and to create new ones, doesn't it? So I love that exercise, Ali, and I think I'm going to pinch it for some of my clients as well, because I think it's a really good one to do, is don't spend the time dwelling, get away from that mirror before you start that kind of introspection and self-critical model as well. In terms of that, because it's not helpful. So go in, compliment what you like, acknowledge, accept, check out what you went there for, and then move away. I love it. It's a beautiful exercise.
Now, there is one thing before we finish that I want to draw people's attention to, that we have both a passion for. You are a big advocate of pre-loved and, you know, making use of what you buy and moving away from fast fashion. And why are you so passionate about this?
I'm passionate about it on several levels, and I'm passionate about it more than anything because I know how much better we generally feel wearing quality over sort of cheap, badly made clothes. It makes such a difference. And so there's the kind of the selfish aspect of it as well, that it helps us to feel better. But I'm really passionate about it because fashion is the second most polluting industry on the planet, and what we don't appreciate and what the media don't want us to know, what brands don't want us to know, is just how bad it is, right through from the point where we are overproducing crops in order to grow cotton, through to the fact that 3 out of 4 items of clothing end up in landfill. That is a horrific number. Now, it may be that you say to me, oh, but I always donate my items to charity, so how come that ends up in landfill? Well, it's simple. The charity shops are so overwhelmed with everything that we donate to them. And with some people, the quality of the clothes or some charity shops, the quality of the clothes that are donated is very poor. that charity shops were not able to sell them through their outlet. So in fact, they only sell between 10 and 20% of all clothes donated.
Wow.
That's a hell of a number, isn't it?
That is a real number. Yes.
So a lot that is poor quality gets shipped off to textile recycling, where the fabrics are broken down. Unfortunately, textile recycling is still fairly much in its infancy. So it means that while the fabrics might be broken down, it might be used for insulation or mattress fillings or things like that, not turned back into clothing at all, but at least they are being utilized. But there is a huge chunk that is okayish clothing, which is then sold on to jobbers or wholesalers, which a lot of it ends up overseas. And that is, a lot of that is then sold in secondhand markets, and then the rest of it that can't be sold is just dumped in landfill.
Right.
And that is just horrific.
We don't need all this stuff.
No, we don't. You're absolutely right. And I am truly hoping that the pandemic has taught us, and certainly within the women, the sort of cycle of women that I talk to, I'm hearing over and over again that I've learned I don't need so much stuff. Now I'm just hoping that when we get back into sort of full society, if you like, that we carry that mantra with us, that we really, you know, it started to ingrain, because a lot of where we go out and buy stuff is because, again, we feel we have to have this new every time. And part of that is through other people's judgment. Part of that is through feeling, well, I can't wear that because I wore it at such and such. And, you know, it's ridiculous. Whereas you and I both know, you style it something slightly different, you wear a different jacket with it or different accessories with it, it looks totally different. And people just don't remember it anyway. It's the truth of it. So I'm really hoping that we don't kind of go back into that. I think the kind of the stigma over pre-love, because you and I don't see there's a stigma with that.
No.
Some people still do. I think that is reducing, and I also think it's just becoming more trendy to wear, and fashionable in a sense, to develop your own trend, to know that you can go out there and buy things that are unique, to know that you can get really brilliant designer bargains if that's what you love. And I know you love Vivienne Westwood, and I've got some designers I follow and love. I wouldn't afford to buy those at full price. I would only buy them as pre-love, but they're treasures, absolute treasures. And that means that you can also help to develop your own personal style through that as well, and your own, show off your own unique personality through that. Yes, it takes a little bit more effort than it does than just going and ordering a dress, you know, from a website or whatever. But I would always say consider pre-loved. And if you've got a lot of events, different occasions coming up, consider renting. That's becoming more popular now.
I've heard about this. Yeah, renting. Yeah, definitely.
It's certainly something that is more accepted, I think, in the US than it is in this country. I think, you know, accepting renting for occasions. I know years ago I used to rent ball gowns and things like that when we went for the odd thing where I'd need something and thought, well, I'm never going to wear this again. What on earth is the point in buying something? But in America, there are like Rent the Runway is a very popular site where people will, particularly corporate women, where they've got to have a lot of they go to a lot of functions, they've got a lot of high power meetings and stuff. They will regularly rent clothes because it's a lot cheaper option than and a better option than going out there and buying new all the time. And I think possibly, I think the younger generation may accept this more than our generation, from the point of view that they are more used to a rental or a borrowing type market. And I think there could be more acceptance of that. Ownership isn't everything with some younger generations, millennial generations. You know, we get things like, you know, co-office space, hot
Yeah,
desking,
exactly. Yeah.
and renting property, because unfortunately most people can't, you know, a lot of younger people can't even afford to get on the property ladder, and sort of various collaborative things where it's more acceptable to rent. And I hope that's going to come out more in terms of clothing as well, because it's another great way of just, you know, we all, you know, we have these occasions and we want something special, and that's totally understandable. But why go out and buy something you're only going to wear once?
So lots of great ideas there. I am a huge fan of pre-loved, of going around the secondhand shops, of being open-minded and just seeing what you get. It's great fun as well. So Carol, we could talk forever. We could. Thank you so much for giving your time. If you watch this, you'll see in the links below in the comments all of Carol's links where you can find out more about what Carol does and all the links to her social media. So please go and check those out. She's always doing fabulous lives on her social media that you can learn all about how to create your own style. So it's definitely worth checking out Carol's sites. Thank you once again for being here in the arena with me and helping us kick off a new season here on my YouTube channel.
Thanks, Sally. It's been an absolute pleasure. And yes, we could create a whole series on this, couldn't we?
Oh, I know. We're going to have you back, definitely. We're going to have you back.
Thank you.
Take care.